Let's take a look at where we left off. We have a start game button. You could select the character loads. We have our little mushroom dude. Actually, let me try that one more time. Might have to adjust TJ's jump height to get over that little area. Let's do like 8 or something. Yeah, there we go. That's a lot higher. We have it too where the mushroom will chase us. I'm actually controlling him. So we have to control a little bit of that radius too. But and let's take a look at what we're going to do in this video. So what we're going to focus on in this video is really just creating a camera like this. And you'll notice like the camera adds a lot of really interesting gameplay features. Like you can use it as a way to sort of trick players, but also it just adds so much life to the game. When you're able, the camera follows. And you'll notice here that there's a subtle shift. If you look at the scene view here as I move around, as I stop, the camera has an offset. And this is pretty nice to have this offset feature here, like the follow speed and then the offset. And the reason for that is like it gives it a little bit of a subtle movement. You know, like so for example, if we take our follow speed and we make it 1 and I start to move around, you can see it follows us a little bit slower. If you want it to be dead on, you could increase it. Let's say we do 5. You can see now it just kind of stays with the character and there's not that much fall off. So it's a really nice sort of feature that let's see if we get this guy to jump off the edge. Yeah, so every good game needs a good camera. Anyway, all right, so let's go ahead and create the camera script. So in your folder here under scripts, I already have one in here because I created the camera for this this project. So, but let's go ahead and just right click in your scripts folder and then just go to create and then C# script. And let's name this camera underscore CTRL for camera controller underscore CSS. So I know with enemy, we spelled it all out. You could do that again. It's probably a better idea just for the sake of, clarity and all that good stuff. And then let's go inside of level 01 here. And on my main camera here, I'm just going to grab that camera controller CSS here. And I'm going to pause the video and just open this up and do the side by side. All right, let's start by adding our variables in here. Now, what we have is, this is really the player. I made it public transform target because say we decide to add that mechanic or something in the future where you can control the little mushroom guys, and each one of those mushroom guys has like a special ability or something. I just made it target because what you're going to want to do is switch the gaze of the camera from the character to the whatever the new target is. So that's kind of something. So I named it target instead of character, but you could really name it character if you want to keep it just for the character. And then this is the offset I was talking about where you can sort of offset the position of the camera either in or out or left or right. And then this is the follow speed variable. Now inside of our start method here, what we want to do is we want to really just find the player game object in our scene. And if you recall, we had a, let's do find game object tag. We had a tag in our player and it was really just player with a capital P. So now what happens is this variable is storing a reference to our player, and this will give us access to grab the position of the player so the target can find it. And that code's pretty easy to do. Really, you could just write target equals player transform, player.transform. And this will now find the character in the scene, the player in our scene, and then move its transform. So now this is storing wherever the player is in our scene on start, like it's just finding the player right away. Something else I like to do is, because there's all those null reference exceptions where it's like, hey, this box is empty or we can't find this or whatever. I always like to add those if statements that we did in the previous one where we just say, hey, if we can't find the player, so player is like equal to null, or in this case, we'll say not equal to null. Then what we'll do is we're just going to grab this line, and I'm going to hold Alt and just push the up arrow so that, and let's tab that in, so that we have a so that if our player is not null, which means we do have a player in this slot here, we found our player, then we're just going to set that transform. Else, like I like to just print something else, like, letting people know in the console. Let's get rid of this here. Letting them know, hey, debug.log, player not found or something. Let's save that. And then really, because we're using, because I wanted to find the player first and then I wanted to update, there's another method that's in the Unity API. It's called late update. And this still runs every frame, but like I said, it just runs later than the other commands. And we'll just add another if statement here, and we'll say if the target is not equal to null. So that means if we have a player, right, or we have some sort of target there, we're going to grab the vector3 dot position. So this is the XYZ position, or we'll make a new variable, new position here, and we'll make it equal to the target position. So this is really our player at this point, plus the offset variable. And this is what's going to control that offset, is this new position. So whatever value we put up there, which is, remember our offset is a vector3, so we're storing an XYZ value. We're just adding the X's and the Y's and the Z's to whatever the target's position is, and that gives us our new position. So for instance, if we add 1 to the X position of this mushroom, wherever we start off when we press play, this position of our mushroom will jump, 11 units. I know it's 10.62, but anyway, so just imagine you're adding 2 vectors. So you're adding the X's, the Y's, and the Z's. Simple math. So what I want to do is I want to grab the Z position here. And this is important because we don't want to move our camera on the Z axis. What happens is, and I don't know if some of you experience this, if your character goes off of the Z axis, it's not going to hit, our player's not going to see it, right? Like watch, if I press play right now, oh, there's still coding errors, but that's why it didn't work. But we need to keep our character on that Z axis so that they interact, because they're all flat. So all we say is that the new position.z is just equal to whatever the transform.position, remember, .z. And so that's saying that, hey, whatever the position here is in the camera, because remember this is attached to the camera, we just want to set it to that. And our main camera's original Z position is important. We don't want to move that because it's going to be tracking and following it. And so, yeah, I think that's good. And now there's something called the lerp, which allows you to animate or smoothly move between 2 positions. And that's where we're going to lerp between our camera's position and our new position, which is the offset. And we're also going to multiply our follow speed and all this other stuff to make sure that on the Z-axis it all is used, and it gives us a little bit more flexibility when we're trying to script our camera movement for player stuff. So we're going to say transform.position. That's the position of this camera. What we're going to do is we're just going to lerp that position. Remember, this is running every frame. And there's really 3 things, the XYZ axis that we want to lerp. So whatever my current position is, transform.position. And then we're going to lerp that with the new position, which if you recall is up here. It's just our target position plus offset, because we're following our character around. And then the third parameter here, I don't know if I said XYZ, but really the third parameter here is the speed in which we're lerping between these 2 positions or moving between these 2 positions. And that's why we have this follow speed variable up here. And we want it to be smooth, so we multiply that by the follow speed by delta time, by time.delta time. And this really, by multiplying it by time.delta time, it doesn't make it frame rate consistent, it makes it time consistent, so that like it moves smoother. So let's go ahead and save this. And here's our main camera in our scene. And you can see we all of this stuff is exposed, and it says none for transform. But the goal, remember, is up here we're at the start, we're going to try to find the game object that has the player in it. Right now, we don't have a player in the scene. So if I press start, or press play rather, you're not going to find anything, and we're going to get that null reference exception. But when we go through our main menu, the original menu, which has the game manager, remember your game manager lives throughout the entirety of your entire game, right? And we use that to sort of fire off things or manage elements of our game. So in this scenes folder, I'm just going to go to the main menu here, press play, and then I'll select TJ this time. And you could see now, if I expand this, I select main camera, it automatically found TJ, which is nice because remember, we have a game with a lot of different customization. So we have this guy who's chasing us. I want to see if he does follow me off the edge. Yeah, he does. Okay. Anyway, that's it for the camera follow script. Look things up if something doesn't make sense, or let me know so I can explain it a little bit better. I know even though it's basic math, because you're learning another language, it could still feel like word salad. But either way, I hope you do well at this, and let me know if you need help.